Order. We'll have the Pledge of Allegiance led by Trustee Brooks. Flag is over here in the corner.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First item, good news, Mr. Hilderly.
Yes, more new hires, folks that we onboarded since the last meeting. We did not have the time. Many of these people were hired at the end of last week, so in terms of getting them to the meeting, I'm not able to do that. But a large list, most of which are noon supervisors, instructional assistants, but also some support people in terms of maintenance and a few, I think there's 3 teachers in there, music teacher, 7th grade or 8th grade science teacher, special ed, resource room teacher. So just welcome to that group. We had, I'll report a little bit later in detail, but we had new employee orientation today, and most of these folks were able to attend that. So just about fully staffed. We have a 4th and a 5th grade position. Actually, I hit the approve button on one of those just before the meeting, and think that we've got 4th grade solved as well. So, knock wood, something else might happen, but I think we've got a fully staffed district starting tomorrow.
Thanks to you and to your hard work, everyone's hard work.
The recruiting has been fairly active in the last couple of weeks. So glad to have them.
All right. And that's it? That's enough news?
That's it.
All right. Next on the agenda, public comment on agenda items only. Please remember, if comments must be limited to 3 minutes. I don't know. Do we have any public comment on agenda items? Nope. Okay, we'll move on. Revisions, approval to the agenda. The only thing I know of is that there's a misunderstanding that I wasn't going to be here tonight, but certainly I'm here, as you can all see, fortunately, unfortunately, whatever. So instead of
Fortunately,
Trustee Davis and all these items is there, but I don't know of any other changes. Does anybody have anything they want to add or change?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as written.
second,
It's been moved and second to approve the agenda as written. Roll call vote. Trustee Brooks.
Aye.
Trustee Davis.
aye.
Trustee Moore.
Aye.
Trustee Simpson. Aye. Trustee Tomlin.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Agenda is approved as written. Next, the schedule reports. We'll start with the financial reports. Mrs. Glenn.
Yeah. Good evening. In your board packets were the July financial statements of 2023 and also the June accounts payable check register. Cash on hand in the end of July was $3,895,436.03. The June check register represented $840,441.30. The July check register is $634,645.13. The revenue report for July. July is actually the first month in our new fiscal year. The first column is the most recent board approved budget, and total revenues from July 1st through July 31st is actually zero. Because any revenue we get from the state in the month of July and August actually belongs to the prior fiscal year. So it gets recognized in June of that prior year. Total expenditures, again, from July 1st through July 31st is $1,770,671.35. The board also received the comparative analysis for revenue and expenditures for that same time period, the month of July. Can I address any questions?
I have no questions. All right, thank you very much. Next, will be a technology update from Mr. Knight.
Good evening. First of all, I have to apologize to anyone watching the live stream. It seems like our camera is failing, so there's a little bit of a flicker. We'll get that replaced for next time. Lots of projects over the summer. We've gone through 3,000 Chromebooks. We're on track to meet all the needs for day one. We'll have everything distributed. The most exciting thing, I think, is the implementation of the asset management system, Chrome Hero. And I don't have a demo ready for you tonight because we don't have a lot of the live data in there yet. But maybe in the next meeting or two, I could show a demo of that and how easier it's going to be to track the checkout, check-in, and repair process for that. So it'll be a one-stop shop repository for all of our Chromebook information. Manages our parts inventory and everything. So that was a lot of work getting that implemented. We're excited to start using it. Some server upgrades this summer to make sure we're compliant with all the security criteria that we need to meet. We were running some older Windows 2003, 2012 servers. So it's important to get those upgraded. A phone system upgrade we think is going to be good. It's a feature called hot desking. It allows staff members to sign into a phone. So if you want to go to somewhere that you don't normally work and sign into a phone, it's just like your phone at your desk. So a lot of neat features with that as well. Moved our office. If anyone's looking for us, we were in B111. We're now in C102. Other than that, just it's our crunch week. It's the busy time of the year for us. Any questions I can answer?
So you have all the Chromebooks you need, and you're
We do. Yep, we're set for Chromebooks, set for chargers, just the distribution from this point on, and making sure everything's labeled and sorted.
and how much buffer do you have?
That's a good question. Conservatively, I want to say 500 to 600 at this
Oh,
point,
good.
but it could be higher than that. And then
Almost
once we
20%.
when we start repairing screens this coming school year, because we got a great deal on 500 screens. So we have a surplus of broken devices. Once we repair those, we'll be even better. So I think we're in good shape.
Awesome.
Sounds like you have like some printing things that you're working on, right?
Printing is, yes, it's a nightmare. We're working with Xerox support and hope to get that fixed in the next day.
All right, we good?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for all your hard work, Summer.
Thank you.
Budget Committee, Trustee Brooks.
It's the ongoing saga of the vans.
Names.
So we had approved, I want to say it was 79,000 for the vans at one point. Is that correct? Yep. Perfect. Thank you.
The back
Oh.
page.
Gotcha. Yep. And yep, 79,832. So we had approved that, and that requisition went out, I believe it was early last year. Yep, right there. And they have discontinued that option. Those vans are no longer being made. So the new vans that'll be available next year are a whole rework, brand new, and of course more expensive. So we're gonna have to think about if we want to continue with the vans. But in talking with Rick during the budget committee meeting, basically we've spent what we would, the difference of what we would spend between what we approved and what the new amount is the same amount we're spending to rent those vans from our bus garage. So it'd be a one-time fee versus every year kind of thing, but
We have some vans now, right?
we.
Well, the bus garage just got them when we rent
them from
them.
the bus
We
garage,
rent
so
them
we
from the
don't
bus.
own any of our own.
They're six
still.
people. They're 6-person vans.
Right.
The vans we're trying to purchase are 11.
Right.
So we'd get 11-person vans for the same price we rent 6-person.
I think we'd had, no,
No,
the difference. So we had approved almost 80,000 and now they're running 112,462. So the difference is about what we spend a year.
That's for 112 is for two.
Correct.
But
And
the rental vans, we don't pay for maintenance, right?
correct.
So that's another thing we need to put in the full decision.
But of the six
right?
passenger van, I mean, I know they're better, but that's not really what we need, is it? I mean,
Right.
No, we need this. I mean, we talked about it. We
Yeah.
need those school vans.
2 years now.
I agree.
And I mean, I don't, you were here.
Yeah.
When we were, we had the pictures of all the,
Yeah, we were so excited.
All
That's
the
why I kind of
wraps.
thought we had them, but.
So can we get the new vans?
in 2023, those will be the next models that are available. Miss Davis was just talking about they are
It's a
not-
complete redesign
Yeah, complete redesign and
and some changes to fleet pricing.
they're not giving the fleet discount or something now. So that's why you're probably seeing that much of an increase.
So, I mean, do we have an official quote for the new vans?
We do. And that's something that I've put before the board as a vote. So that'll be coming up, but that was,
And I did place the order, so we're in line,
yeah, we have.
but we have the option to get out of line should the
Right.
board
So we
choose
kind
not
of
to
got to
move
lock in
forward.
a vote on that fairly soon, right? Or we will maybe have a new increase.
Well, the order's placed,
No, I
so-
think if you locked into the contract,
Yeah,
I think
Right.
with the order and we could still cancel, right?
Yes, we can still cancel.
Right.
But, so just that was what budget mostly discussed.
So is the budget committee recommending, we have the funds, it's allocated? Can you allocate it?
We can make it happen, for sure.
Well, I think one of the questions we had was we were still waiting on some of the extra money, understanding the extra money coming from the state to see if that would release some funding that we could utilize for the vans. So,
Essentially, it would come up again in front of the board as a budget revision, most likely in November. And that line would be revised, so that would be the next step would be to show it to the board as part of the revised budget.
What's the
And-
timeline?
And I think since we got that time, we should get other bids. I mean, we went from 79,000 to 112,000. And I think it's only four
Why
is
not?
the company, so.
You're right, we do have the time, so we can fish around.
Is
There's
this
another-
through the commodities?
Yes.
that is the cooperative purchase from the state site, my deal, yes.
What's the timeline? Like, when would they be available?
It's the 2023.
Yeah,
model.
it's a 2023 model, but they still wouldn't likely be here till like April or May.
Spring.
Jeez.
Summer.
That's what I said, it's the ongoing saga for the
Then
vans.
this
Next
time
school year.
Next school year.
next school year.
All right,
Hurry up and wait.
okay?
That-
Any other
yep,
questions then?
Got it.
Is that's everything?
That
Yep.
that was the pertinent things from budget committee. I
Okay.
did have that here, thank you.
All right. Thank you. Any other questions? Board bond committee. Tim?
We met last Tuesday and we finally we got the brochure approved and we printed some of those. Mrs. Tomlin went to the car show.
And Mr. Hillerly went there too.
Yeah, oh, you were there too? Oh, wow, two of you. And I think Mr. Hooley went to the TCA this weekend, is that correct?
That one I didn't
I
get
went to
to.
the
Oh, you went to the
Mary was at
TCA? Okay.
TCA, yeah.
All right. So they handed some out there and right now we're just still gathering photos and information and so forth to get this website up and going, so.
All right, so do we have the brochures?
Yeah, you look
Yes.
great. I should have brought you some.
Right,
Rick
and
has
that,
some.
so
Yeah,
are
I'd
we
like to see
starting,
'em.
are we starting to place them or?
This was just a small bundle because we still don't have the website on them yet because we're waiting for information to put on the website, so.
Okay,
So
so we're
just
printing
wait-
enough to handle the,
those two events.
how about, is the football game home this week?
It
First
sure
home
is.
football game is coming up on Thursday.
Are we gonna hand
We'll
flyers
have-
out there?
We've got print materials we can use for that. Maybe another.
I'm a
small
good flyer
batch.
hander outer.
And then we're gonna do 3 mailings after Labor Day weekend, so, and hit people before the absentee ballots come out. And then we might do a 4th, depending on what kind of traffic we're seeing on the website, right before the general election, so.
And we are gonna put the big flyer, we're gonna put that in the Herald, right? We're gonna fold
Yep.
that in.
Yep.
That's still planned. And what is that planned just before the absentee?
Yep, just before the absentee.
So middle of September?
Yep.
Okay. And website's still in process.
And today you've got some pretty great pictures of
Yeah,
what
we need
some
a
of
lot
our
more
problems
pictures.
were, but we need more,
We
right?
need a lot more. Yep, those
Okay.
6 pictures or 8 pictures are not gonna cut it, so.
Okay.
Who's responsible for the pictures?
Victor.
All All right, well, I mean, I was out last week, but the brochure looked great.
You saw it?
Well, I
saw
saw
it, right?
revision 2 or 3. I haven't seen the final version yet. I had it here, last meeting, sorry.
I should have
But,
brought
it
them.
was
but
here.
You have
Um,
some, Veronica, right? When
I have
we
seen
leave.
it down there.
Yeah.
And they look great.
Yeah, we had a revision here last meeting. I just didn't get it. So, I had something else to say, but I don't remember. All right. Very good. Thanks to everyone on that. Any questions for the bond committee?
What about the yes committee? Are they formed and moving as well?
They are not formed yet. I have a conversation coming up with one individual soon, so we'll see where they are.
Sounds like you'd be willing to volunteer for Thursday night at the football game.
I
I
might.
heard it.
I'm gonna voluntold my husband Tom too. Like for the,
Yeah, we
Hot
actually,
dog
we've
cookout.
got a pretty large time opportunity because we play the JV game is here as well Thursday night. So there's a 4 o'clock JV game, small break in between, and then varsity at 7 o'clock.
but is
So
it Thursday, not Friday?
both games are Thursday.
Okay,
Yes,
I cannot do that one.
I can.
and I'll definitely be there.
I think it's a great idea, but what is the plan, like, to hand them out as people are leaving?
Yeah,
I would
so they
plan
keep
to-
them.
Right, I mean, if you hand, if I'm sitting there at the football game and you hand me something, it's gonna get set down.
Okay.
Because I'm clapping, you know what I mean? I would think as people are leaving is the time to hand those out to them.
Got it.
Just my 2 cents.
Let's have a big bag, you know, with a blanket
Well,
and
it'll
everything.
save some custodian pickup afterwards too, I think, so.
Right, that's
Good
great.
thought.
Good point.
All right, so who's gonna, I guess,
Unless we're recycling.
so the bond, I mean, you'll head up, figure out, who's gonna head up the football? I mean, Suzanne, it's just hers, or-
You know what, I'll send an email out to the whole bunch and get it coordinated before Thursday.
Yeah, I'm not available.
Me either.
I'm out of town, so. All right. Any other questions? All right, Board, the Facilities and Grounds Committee.
Well, we met last Wednesday, and we had some good updates from Mike. The first one, they've done the preliminary roof and structural inspection. So the roof has
The pool
Prob-
you're talking
or
about.
the pool, yeah,
Yeah.
at the pool. The roof has some issues that we need to address in the near term. So we asked Mike to get more information on that. He was already working on that. The structural inspection, like I said, the initial one was completed. Some rust was found. So the next step is to have a more thorough inspection, which actually I think plays into some of the pool plans for taking down ceiling tiles and that. So that's being worked on. And then he also recommended that we do some air testing at the pool. So Rick was going to take that. Mr. Hilderly was going to take that to see with Mike how to get that done. He shared an unexpected update on the solar energy project that the Inflation Reduction Act actually has some opportunities for additional credits that actually changes our payback from around 13 and a half years to around 10 years. And then inflation has hit us on the HVAC controls pricing. So of course, we wanted to do that through the ESSER project. So Mrs. Glenn will have to give us an update on how the ESSER funds look. And then some good news that Mike's working to get all the blueprints for the district put on electronic files so that they're easy to access. And we have all of them historically, and we're kind of not picking them up from different places within the building. And then because there's not a maintenance director update today, I will share the good news that the cleaning status is going very well. Thank you to Mr. Hawkins' team. I think if you've been in any of the buildings, you can probably see, especially the high school, I think even just walking in here, you can see all the work that's been done ahead of schedule in the middle school, wipe downs planned, very good hiring status. So we're in much better shape than we were this time last year, even at the end of the school year for custodial staff. and HVAC maintenance team member started. So all good news. That should also probably save us some money from the standpoint of going outside to get HVAC repairs done. So that's what we discussed at the facilities meeting.
So the pool maintenance, is that something that's to be done in this next year?
No, about 3 to 5 years near
3 to
term.
5 years. And the installation, is that going to be coming down ahead of that, or that's all?
When they do the larger inspection that we need to do,
They'll
all
take
that
that down?
would come down. So
Okay. Any questions for the Buildings Committee? Thank you. Board curriculum, Mary.
Sure. We also met on Wednesday, and Megan was provided us with an update, I believe, of her quarterly goals. She's here, so she can correct me with anything. She met with Jen Morgan, who gave her an understanding of our high school curriculum and provided her with information on that. She's met with Brian McDowell and Jen Morgan to kind of look at the process of what it would be to crosswalk and potentially offer some science and math credits for some of the computer programming class. Right now it stands as an art credit, which in all actuality, there's a lot of math and there's a lot of science. So we looked at that a little bit, and in terms of what could be done with that. She met with Lynn Savage. He currently teaches a wood trade class, but would be interested in exploring the opportunity of having a CTE course, like a building trades. He teaches 5 sections of wood shop, but maybe that could be worked on for like a building trades 1 or 2, which again has an advisor committee and all the things that you have to have in place for CTE. She has worked on a grant for Future Proud Michigan Educator for a possible education course. She's attending a CTE conference, I believe in September, correct? To gain more information about the CTE world. Worked with the science department. I believe the middle school has worked heavily over the summer and has some information that they're actually piloting at the middle school. And Megan helped them a little bit with understanding the assessment component of a little bit more. And it isn't as easy as math and English to have an assessment. So she's kind of worked with them a little bit on that. And she's been in contact with the high school science department, who will start their review this school year. She's established a professional development plan, which is happening heavily this week. We also talked a little bit about looking at other districts to see if they have the Michigan Merit Credit that worked out for computer programs. And so that would make the crosswalking a little bit easier. We reshared some offerings at other schools and what's being done in neighboring districts, some hot job lists, state and county. So as she begins the strategic plan, she can kind of look at some of that data. I think that's it. Did I miss anything? All right, thank you. And I'm sorry for the late upload, but it's in your the shared file.
The minutes are in the share file?
They are now.
Okay, good. All right. Any questions for the curriculum committee? All right, strategic plan quarterly report.
All right, this is in your packet in printed form. And I can say this, I don't usually get excited about giving a report. But this one I was pretty happy with because Yvonne Kamal Kanul, who was one of the facilitators of the strategic plan and was a superintendent in Lansing Public Schools, shared the format of the report that she had used with her board. And I just wasn't sure. I work with spreadsheets, but in terms of formatting spreadsheets, I'm not a pro. So I was really happy that we were able to convert that report into what you have now. And then if you noticed your email about 6 o'clock, I shared the digital version of the report. Now, why that's, I think, important is that the next thing that we will hope to try to do is get good at filling this as we do things.
We're recording it on your phone.
Watch.
I can only see sheet 1 on that.
On which one?
The one he just shared, I'm only seeing sheet 1.
I mean, I hear voices all the time, so I wasn't sure where that was coming from.
Is anybody
Very
else
Dick Tracy.
able to pull up more than just the cover
You
sheet
just
of it?
gotta toggle all the way to the bottom and hit the
Okay,
arrow down key.
Yeah, you
I
gotta
will do that.
scroll down.
Got it.
Okay. So in this report then, you'll see that I filled in the March to May 2022 portion of the report. That's the stuff that we reported on in May, in the first quarter. The second quarter report then is in the column under June to August. And I'll just talk about some of these. We've got the 5-year curriculum review cycle. That, anywhere that you see the blue hot link will take you to a more detailed document so that we don't have to put all of the information into the spreadsheet. It will just launch you to other places when you want the detail. Under real world course offerings, again, Mrs. Tomlin mentioned some of the work that Megan's already done with working with the counselors in these areas. The professional development plan for all of 22-23 is in there. A lot of it is front loaded in these next 3 days with teachers, but some of it spreads throughout the year. That's a very detailed document, so it's hot linked. Then you've got the model for the embedded continuous professional learning opportunities, expand and refine K-12 data collection process. That's ongoing. So you can see as you flow down through the columns what's going on. And then overachiever, Mrs. Way, put stuff into the September to November report because those are things that she will be working on or has been working on getting started for the next quarter. So you can see those items as well. And then, as I mentioned, we will, and we being directors and administrators who have access to this, will be able to put information in here ahead of these quarterly reports so that you'll be able to look at it and
That's
know
great.
what's going on in those particular areas. If you scroll down to the goal area under operations, TPS will increase investments in infrastructure to provide safe, clean, and reliable services. So we've got Plan A was pass the bond proposal, and then Plan B is what happens if we don't pass the bond proposal. So you've got a link to the facilities and grounds capital projects plan for the things that need to get done over the next 1 to 5 years. A lot of what was reported tonight, the minutes from the facilities committee, that's a document that can be placed in here and hot linked. It's also available in the board folder, but just putting all the information in this document for you to be able to go to when you want updates is going to be, I think, very useful for you. Under the goal of personnel and leadership, actively hire and retain high-quality staff. You've got statements in there about the recruitment process that we went through this summer. Obviously, the human resources director position was filled in the first quarter. One of the activities this year was to develop innovative and competitive compensation structure for all employees. The facilities director and the pool director both worked with Kelly to adjust their budgets to increase hourly rates, and that has resulted in us having an uptick in our hiring. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Hawkins is fully supplied with his budgeted number of custodians going into this year. We do have one maintenance position that we're going to be trying to fill. So all that information can be fed in here. We're going to talk a little bit later tonight about a wage and benefit package for our preschool. And that's kind of an innovation. So we'll put that in here once the board approves it. All of the things that we do that fall under these categories will eventually end up in this document. So I think that's it. I also, under the last goal for communications and community engagement, I did put in the link to the bond survey where we tried to gather information to make decisions about this upcoming bond vote in November. So that's in there. And at any time, if we talk about something at the board level and it occurs to you that maybe that would be a document that should go into this report, just request it and we'll make sure that it goes in there. Like I said, what we hope to get better at is recognizing and, having a light bulb go off. Hey, that's a great thing to put into the report because it falls under this goal area and these activities. So we want to make sure that it's updated and that it has the information in it that everyone feels is important. So you've got two versions of it. Each quarter when we do the report, you'll have the printed version of it in your packet so that it becomes part of the minutes, but you'll always have it as something that you can look at and, like I said, suggest that we add things to it. Any questions about the document or any of the items that are in it?
When can we get an update on the CTE for computer programming?
Specifically, what information?
I mean, I'd like to understand enrollment, what's being taught, that sort of thing. There appears to be a lot of kind of like career exploration and that sort of thing. I think it's helpful for us to understand that as we're explaining the bond. That's a major career growth area.
Okay.
So if we could, any CTE that we're doing, I think it's good that we're looking at different areas of trades and not just focusing on one. But I think if we could get updates on that, because I think it helps us explain, kind of what our next generation curriculum and
Okay.
learning vision is.
And I also would say that it's probably necessary to also educate the board on the process that it takes to get those classes certified for CTE. So we'll bring that information as well.
It's not an overnight thing
No, it's
to get
not
that
an
done at all. It has to have an advisory. And, while Mr. McDowell has the advisory, as you know, and the components, to make it Michigan merit qualified, it has to make sure that it matches the benchmarks and the standards for that curriculum. So that takes a little bit.
So I'm also glad that Mrs. Way is going to take the course on that. My only other comment is that while I'm very happy to see career exploration and Project Lead the Way in the middle school, that is too late. Children start to form their opinions about careers in the 3rd and 4th grade, so especially STEM. So we need to consider how do we get career exploration as early as we possibly can.
I will say this, last year, Mrs. Laney did a really innovative thing. I think it was on Google Meets or something like that. Through the months of March and April, she had different people from career fields go on chats, or it was like a school-wide thing where they went in and they presented and they asked questions to them. You were a part of that, weren't you? And so that is a kind of a cool thing for some early, exploratory. And I know she thinks she expects to, that was fun, right? It was interesting. You talked about,
Yeah,
they
I
had
did
read
know.
some kind of book. You did too, right, Tony?
Right, and we do have the STEM programs, K4. Mrs. Way mentioned the other day in our committee meeting that it's both her kids' favorite class is going to those STEM class courses.
I mean,
So
that's another thing we need to be selling to COMSI is that
Absolutely.
we have an elementary science curriculum. It's a major issue within the state that a lot of elementaries and districts do not have science curriculum. So, those are the types of things that we need to push out. I'd also like to see, I'd like the board to understand if we are doing career exploration, what careers are we looking at? I think sometimes we look for people in the community that have a job instead of looking at what are all the jobs that our kids are capable of doing in the future. lots of us on the board and in the community have connections where we can get all types of careers into our schools and Q&As and those types of things. So let's make sure that that's happening.
Couple comments I have. I mean, I'm pleased that there, the difference between last quarter and this quarter, we're seeing more things filled in and more data behind it, which is really good to see. I mean, the hot links, professional development and the curriculum, that's great. So I feel like we are implementing a lot of this. Something that Trustee Brooks mentioned at the last meeting in her comments, and it's in here. I mean, I'd like to see us, and the high school administration team is here, really have a person assigned to the board, a student assigned to the board by the next meeting. School starts next week. I'd like to, that's one of our objectives, is to get them in here. And I'd like to ask that, it's hard before school gets in, but school starts next week. So let's, by our September meeting, see if we can have that person assigned. I don't know what the procedure is for doing that. I'll let the administration team figure that out. I think the board's
Kind of
okay
cool
with
to see
that.
if there was an
Yeah,
application
but
or
it's time.
something, like a
Yeah.
job.
I know that there's statement in our policy about it.
Yeah, and maybe they have to interview for it. I don't use it as a learning, use it as something, a learning, do an essay or whatever, and we can choose that person. However, but I'd like to make an action item to make that happen.
We can do it.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Again, I feel that we've made progress. There's not just words there, there's data behind these words now, and that's what's supposed to be there. Good?
Yep.
Thanks, Rick. Discussion item, preschool wage and benefit agreement.
Yeah, this was actually scheduled to be on your discussion item list for last time. And Danielle was not able to be here. She has done the lion's share of cleaning this up and getting it to a completed form. So the preschool staff, a lot of whom are here, have been extremely patient. Because this was something that we started talking about a year ago. And previously, the preschool staff have kind of been treated like the instructional assistants. And when I say that, I mean just typical work stuff like days off, sick time, vacation, work schedule, all of that stuff. They were never covered by any kind of language. So we looped them into the umbrella of the instructional assistants. Unfortunately, along with that was we kind of paid them like instructional assistants. And much of what they do is certified and qualified by a degree. So they began talking to us about a different wage schedule and having some formal language that would cover a lot of the items that I just talked about, the employee-employer relationship. So it went back and forth in negotiation. It went back and forth to our attorneys. It got backburnered a couple of times just because I couldn't get to some things. And then when we onboarded Danielle, I asked her to finish it up. So I asked her to, if she could be here to speak to any questions that the board might have, to talk about those details. I would appreciate it. I know that the employees are interested in having this acted upon sooner rather than later because it doesn't affect their pay and work starts next week. So you've just had a little bit of time to take a look at it. It's on as a discussion item. So if there are questions and if we can't answer them tonight and we have to push it to the next meeting, we'll be able to get you that information. So what thoughts or questions do you have about this wage and benefit agreement?
I looked it over somewhat. I actually do feel like early child development is, like a degree, it's a specialty. This looked good to me that we would be moving in that direction.
I agree with that.
I have a couple questions. I mean, so what is the term of this agreement? They are not, this is not part of TA.
No, they're not. They're-
So, but is this a yearly negotiated, collectively bargained
in
agreement?
calling it a wage and benefit agreement instead of a contract, it's basically just a document that governs that employee group and gives them some sense of what their wage scale is, how they're going to be treated for holidays and school closures and all the things that come up with teachers that typically in the past we've said, oh yeah, in the preschool too. It gives us a way of treating them the way that we treat everybody else.
It formalizes everything.
Yeah, we ought to
Formalize
have-
it in language that they can point to. In terms of negotiation and renegotiation, it isn't that kind of agreement because they're not a collective association. They're not affiliated
Right.
with an
But
association.
I guess there's effect on the front page. It says effective date, expiration date. I mean, we need to set that, right? So we're not 10 years from now thinking, oh, we never updated that, right?
Okay.
So is this a 2-year? What's the
Well,
intent?
there's a pay scale back here that goes to 2025.
No, good point.
Danielle, was that the agreement that you had come to?
Yeah, a lot of the items that are in that agreement are already happening. The trainings that they go to, different reportings that they have to do. A lot of that effective date is gonna circle around that pay agreement because there are that staggered raises depending on where they go in the education plan.
So
So basically 3 years.
3
is
school
there
years.
a preschool educators association?
There's not.
Well, it says under termination, change, or amendment, item A, it is hereby agreed by the board and the association. So,
It seems more like an employee manual than a contract.
It kind of is.
That's
and
what it
there's a
should be.
term, but there's a termination clause in that. So if it's not a bargaining agreement or contract, then we need to clean up that language.
Okay.
Just from more of a legal perspective, because like, if there's not an association, does that mean that any member of the preschool, every member signs it and then they say, well, I'm giving you 90 days, I don't agree, as one individual? So those are some of the things that maybe need to be, I mean, I think it's a great idea to have this. I appreciate Danielle putting this together and working on this. I agree with Mrs. Tomlin that preschool's essential to long-term educational success of a child. So I'm glad to see that in here. I just want to make sure that the language matches the type of agreement it is.
Did
from a
Truon
legal
review this?
perspective.
I mean, it is kind of a contract. It's like
Yeah,
an
it has
agreement.
been through Troon at one point last year, and then fell in Danielle's hands.
I mean, it may be as much as the board and the administration of the preschool program,
Yeah,
very
would
simple
make
wording
sense.
changes.
Okay.
Yeah, but we need, I mean, I agree. We need to get done sooner rather than later, but we need to make sure it's right.
right. You don't want to end up with an unintended consequence where,
Right.
well, who's the association that has to approve this?
Right.
Okay, we'll get those things cleaned up.
Yeah, and I see no reason, I mean, we should be able to bring it to vote next
Right.
meeting, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep, it's good by me.
Get that
Question would be,
clarified.
is it retroactive?
Yeah,
What's that?
Will it be
retroactive. Because they start school tomorrow or
Right.
whatever.
Well, they start school a week from. go ahead.
They'll start, you
Mhm.
guys start with kids the same time the
Yeah,
Gen
Right,
Ed's
okay.
do?
so we may want to.
You
make
report
sure-
tomorrow?
Yeah, They're
We
starting
may
work
want to make sure
tomorrow.
that motion has that verbiage in it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I would think we'd want to do that, but yeah,
I'm okay with that budget wise.
okay. All right.
Good point.
We probably should have asked Kelly.
Yeah, and I would also point out that, the preschool is not free to folks.
Right.
People pay, it's an
Right.
income source. And just hate to put you on the spot, but do you know the percentage of students who go through our preschool that end up our kindergartners? So,
So just so the world can hear that, it's very high. 75 to 90% was the answer from the staff. Thank you. very important part of a recruiting process.
It is.
My kids went
And their
through it.
development.
Your kids did?
Oh, yeah.
Good.
Mhm.
So thanks for your work and thanks for your patience on this. And Danielle, thank you for getting it all finished up.
We'll get it done. We'll get it done. All right. Any other comments or questions? No. All right. Consent agenda.
I hereby move to approve the consent agenda, which includes the minutes from the regular board meeting of August 8th, 2022.
Second.
Man, you guys are on it. All right. We're moving and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Includes minutes from the board meeting of August 8th, 2022. Roll call vote. Trustee Tomlin.
Aye.
Trustee Simpson.
Aye.
Trustee Moore.
Aye.
Trustee Davis.
Aye.
Trustee Brooks.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Consent agenda approved. Superintendent report. Rick.
Just a few things. New employee orientation took place today. Unfortunately, we lost the rooftop air conditioner in the middle school library,
Oh.
which isn't the first time that we've lost that at unfortunate times. So they suffered through a little bit of a warm day, but got to meet all of the administration, central office, directors. Got to talk about all the employee coming to work stuff. And they had the cinnamon rolls were fantastic by our food service. They were provided lunch as well. They had planned to take a bus trip through the district, but the sit and get didn't stop till about 2:00. So we held them harmless on the bus tour for the afternoon.
Downtown's a little bit ripped up anyway.
Yeah, going through town may not have been a great idea anyway. But nice job. We're going to roundtable and talk about what we can do differently for the future. But we had quite a good crowd there today. Just a reminder, tomorrow's opening day. Breakfast starts at 7:30. Program starts around 8:00. If you can come board, please come and be part of that. It'll last until around 9:15, and then there'll be a break for folks who need to leave and go into their different things, and then Alice training for the rest of the morning and afternoon, school safety training.
I thought it was nice that they put that out today because, people might come into school and you have to have the school locked down, during Alice. So it's good that that notice went out.
Last item, door security. I don't know if you noticed on the way in, but we have the stickers
We
on
did.
all the windows inside and out from all the buildings, exterior, reminding people not to prop the doors open unless they're properly supervised. And then we'll have an RFP for the door alarm systems put out so that we can get that instituted soon. And the other thing I didn't put on there, but you may have noticed, the sculpture garden footers have been poured. So hope to have that all filled in and done before the leaves turn color here soon. And that's it for me.
Any questions or clarifications requests from Mr. Hilgerly? All right, thanks very much. Items scheduled for next agenda, discussion items we'll have some action. We'll have an action item on the Tecumseh Public Schools and Preschool agreement. That'll be an action item for next meeting. And then I'm sure we'll have an update on opening day activities and the start of school update, I'm sure. Public comment. Again, if any public comment, please hold your comments to 3 minutes. I don't see anybody for public comment. No. All right. Board member comment discussion. Board members?
Unfortunately, I'm not able to join the opening day breakfast tomorrow because of some job responsibilities early in the morning, but I wanted to wish all the administrators and their staff opening day is a big day. So good luck tomorrow. And as we go into the school year, I know my two Tecumseh students are extremely excited about school starting in the middle school and excited about who their teachers are and which friends are in their class and that sort of thing. So I appreciate all the hard work there. I also attended the cross country preview on Saturday. My daughter ran in the middle school team, but our high school ladies came in first. So very good. And the men's team made a good showing. And then our soccer team won their first game, men's soccer. So things turning around in that program, it looks like as well. So all signs point to a very good start of the school year and a good school year. So good luck, and always let us know what you need. So.
Anybody else?
I want to say how awesome this building looks, Tom.
Oh my gosh.
With the orange accents and that new entryway, it smells lovely. It has not smelled lovely in a long time. And I did not notice the stickers because I was too busy looking up at all the paint and the floor. And I looked straight up, straight down, but it looks really good. And I've heard the other schools look good too. So I'm glad you got yourself a good crew.
I feel like there's lots of excitement and a lot of good things happening. Lots of new staff, and I think we're hoping for a great year for sure.
Absolutely.
All right.
Forward to tomorrow.
Yeah. Anybody else? All right, then I'll accept the motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Support.
Been moved and seconded to adjourn the meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Approve, same sign. Meeting adjourned.